In this video, I'm going to explain how you can fill in a garage floor. If you wanted to flatten it out, maybe convert the garage into a room. First thing I want to do is show you how most garage footings are built, or how the floors are built. So a lot of times you're going to have a concrete foundation or a raised floor foundation, and the garage will tie into that. So here we have a concrete foundation, and then we have little stem walls that go around the garage. And if you can see here, the bottom, actually we would have the footings for the house that are going to support the load-bearing walls all the way around. So this actually creates a nice strong structure even without the concrete in the center. The walls, as we can see here, are raised so that the walls will be the same height, the top of the wall. So we raise the walls. You're going to come across garages that actually were built lower, and the carpenter needed to make the studs a little longer, the wall studs a little longer to compensate. But this is pretty much a typical way you would build a garage with the garage foundation. So you'd have a stem wall, something would stick up a little higher in the garage. Again, you can go out in your garage and check this out. A lot of times your garage floor isn't as high. Stem wall's a little higher, so you can see a little curb there. And then you'd have the footing underneath. Now I want to show you how, I didn't go ahead and draw a bunch of them in, but a lot of times they're going to pour the concrete footing with some reinforcement bars in the footing. You're going to have them like this, 24 inches on center. So just wanted to show you that. You'll get a little more better idea as we go into the video. Here's what the concrete slab would look like. It's often poured separate, two separate pours, and the reason for that is because it is sloping. And here we can go up to the corner here and see that it is sloping here, and or I should say a little higher here. Let's just say the measurement from the top of the slab is 2 inches. And then over here it's 4 inches. It slopes so that any water that gets in the garage can drain out safely. Next question would be, can you simply just pour the concrete on top of the garage slab and make it flat? And I really don't see a problem with that as long as you have a minimum of 2 inches. Most of the jobs I worked on, and remember, the information I'm giving you is just information I've learned over the years. Your situation might be completely different, or things might have changed. You're listening to this thing in the 22nd century, probably has changed for sure. Now, the concrete, the distance for the concrete, the minimum is usually 2 inches. If you have an inch here, that's the minimum distance that you're going to be filling in. You might have to get a different type of material, and you'd need to contact your local ready mix company for that. See what they have. And again, a lot of stuff I've gotten over the years, information I've just gotten by talking to the dispatcher. Explain the dispatcher my situation, and they hook me up and give me what I need. Works out great. So, and of course, this is the slope. Down here, the area is always going to be a little bigger. So, can you use a bonding agent? I really don't know if they work that well, to be honest with you. I've poured a few jobs where I've had the 2 inch minimum, a little bit bigger, and I've never had a problem with it. Now, when I say I never had a problem with it, after it's poured, I didn't have a problem with it. But I have actually came across jobs where they have cracked because the concrete's not thick enough, or it didn't bond right, and it just simply cracks and flakes off. That's a possibility. Here's the best suggestion. If you're looking for the best way to do something like this, you would need to remove the slab and re-pour it. That would be the best way. But if you're looking for a way to save some money, then simply pouring the concrete on top of something like this or another material would probably work just fine, and I have seen it work fine over the years. Here's another method you can use. You can put the rebar in and use little dowels to dowel into the existing concrete. Now, the thing I'd like to point out about this one, I don't really know if it would be applicable in this situation, but most of the time when I installed rebar, it needed to be 2 inches away from a surface, 2 inches away from the top minimum. And you needed to be 2 inches away from the soil. But in this situation, you're not going to have that. So let's say that you have a 2-inch space here. You could probably drill in at the bottom and get the 2-inch space at the top. Well, if you had a 2-inch space, obviously you'd have a problem. And if you only had 2 inches and this was a concern of yours, then maybe you wouldn't put any rebar here. You'd move it a little farther down the line to where you had the space to where you could set it. And then, of course, you could set it on the bottom and then raise it up as you went further down to where you had more area. But this would be a problem in areas where you or it could be a concern. I'm just throwing it out there. Maybe it wouldn't be a concern in a situation like this. You could drill it in and be 1 inch from the top. I don't know. I don't know if you're getting the same strength that you would be, and that's the reason why I'm throwing it out there. As you get a little further down, you're going to have a little more area to work with. You can put the dowels in, raise them up a little bit. And, of course, you can always use angled or bent dowels to go into the area where the garage door would set a little lower. And then, of course, I would just line these up with the footing here, because you're going to have to put a form board on the side, then you would pour it in. And you can always have these extend a little bit past. Like I said, though, just keep them 2 inches away from would be the minimum. I mean, I've came across jobs where it was 3 inches. So if you can, 3 inches would be better. 2 inches would be probably the minimum. And the same thing in the corner, dowel into the stem walls, dowel into the stem wall, and then tie the rebar into it. And I was just kind of showing you a lap here. This would be the dowel that would go in. The distance here, like I said, if there is a minimum and a maximum, a minimum distance, then you need to make sure that you have it in this situation. Corner, and again, this would be the corner. This is a little taller. You're going to have to raise it up. Don't forget that your rebar needs to lap. If you drill a hole here that's 2 inches down from the top, this rebar here would need to go underneath it, and that might not be possible. So allow for the rebar to lap. You're going to have rebar that goes in one direction from left to right, let's say, or let's just say from east to west. You're going to have, if you place it 2 inches down, you're not going to be able to drill the same dowel hole in 2 inches down. It's going to have to be raised or lowered depending upon the thickness of the rebar. If the rebar is a 1/2 inch thick, then you're going to have to raise it or lower it. You'd have to raise it a 1/2 inch, but you'd have to lower it 1 inch because you already have a 1/2 inch here. So just make sure that you compensate for that. That would be a nightmare if you didn't do that. How do I know? Don't ask. Here we have, how would you keep it off of the concrete? You could simply just cut a piece of rebar and have it sitting on top of the surface of the garage floor or concrete slab, and then tie it into the rebar. Make sure that it's the right height and everything. And of course, that's it. This method right here might not work for everyone, and again, it all depends upon whether or not you have the distance here to pour it. Anyway, I hope this video is helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment area. And if you have any experience working with a project like this, I would love to hear about it. Leave the comment in the comment area, and we can maybe figure something out here that will work better. And I'm not against removing my videos and making other videos if I do have more information. So anyway, it's off to the next video, and don't forget to hit the old thumbs up button if you like this video.